here are just some of the videos from the really intense debates in l'Assemblée nationale in France, showing you how the left are really putting their foot down and threatening the government with a general strike, which is going to take place on March 7th if they don't abandon their pension reforms, which basically just screw people out of early retirement at 62. They want to raise it from 62 to 64. And here's some of the best moments, okay? Because this stuff was really intense. The president of the National Assembly, it turns out she owns thousands of shares in Total, which is the French energy giant. Guess which companies are turning out record profits right now when people are paying such high gas bills? Shell, Total is one of them. All of these companies are benefiting very, very greatly because all of the electricity and gas prices have gone through the roof. And so the left's idea that, okay, fine, you're trying to enact these pension reforms because there's no money. Well, why don't we just tax the rich, right? Look at these companies with their record profits. There's les super profits, right? Let's just tax them and use that money and put it into the pension fund, right? And turns out the president of the National Assembly, she owns a bunch of shares in Total and in L'Oréal. So obviously she doesn't want to be taxed, right? These people are politicians are the same, man. They're the same. Let me just play you the scene. It's so funny, man. Okay, I'll try to interpret at the same time for you, yeah?
On peut pas tenir le discours que vous tenez, c'est-à-dire il y a une heure défendre les PME de ce pays et maintenant défendre Total Energy et la CMA CGM. Vous disiez qu'il y avait des dirigeants de petites entreprises qui pouvaient pas.
So she said, you can't possibly come in here and say the things that you say basically defending all of these corporations and their record profits, and then coming in here and saying that small businesses can't keep the lights on.
Payés aujourd'hui en France parce qu'ils veulent payer leurs salariés, mais c'est à cause de quoi?
Sorry. She said she's talking to the president of the National Assembly that she's always saying that people in France can't afford to pay their workers, right?
Quoi? C'est à cause de quoi? Des taxes ou c'est à cause des factures d'énergie?
Is it because of taxes or because of the light bills, the energy bills?
Qui ont explosé de 300, 400%, 1000%.
Energy price has gone up 1,000%. So her point is people can't pay their workers and can't keep small businesses open because the light bill, the power bill has gone through the roof 1,000%. That's why.
Poussé par la spéculation des fournisseurs d'énergie que vous connaissez très bien, dont le nom est notamment Total Energy. La vérité, c'est que vous préférez Engie et Total Energy aux PME de France, je l'ai déjà dit. Et quand on sait que Madame la Présidente de l'Assemblée nationale a omis de déclarer 40 000 € d'actions chez Total Energy dans sa déclaration.
And she said that the president of the National Assembly, she didn't declare that she owns 40,000 shares in Total, right? So she hid this. And look what comes next. This is very funny.
De patrimoine.
That's her.
On se pose des questions quand même. On se pose des questions. Merci. Alors, Madame
So she's saying you own a bunch of shares in Total, which is making record profits, and people, because, energy bills are through the roof. So,
Dufour, c'est inadmissible ce que vous venez de faire.
This is unacceptable.
Il y a eu une erreur du site Le Monde. Ils viennent de
Le Monde made a mistake on their website.
corriger. La HTTP
They just corrected it.
Alors,
She's saying Le Monde, the French newspaper, corrected their mistake.
Il n'y avait aucune omission dans ma déclaration et je vous remercie de ne pas relayer.
There was no omission of my that I own all these shares. Now here's the funny part, because this shit made me laugh so much. Do you know what she did? Apparently that NUPES politician, so the leftist who was just talking to the president saying you own all these shares, she didn't get it wrong. The only correction that was issued by Le Monde was that the president of the National Assembly, so Yael Braun-Pivet, did not declare that she owns 40,000 euros worth of shares and not 40,000 shares. What's the fucking difference? She still lied. She hid the fact that she owns shares in Total, in the energy company. It's just they just got it wrong. It's it was 40,000 euros worth of shares, not 40,000 shares. Yeah, but the point is still the same. This is so funny, man. And everybody's like getting up and clapping for her, like as if she just owned her. No. She lied. She lied about it and she didn't say it. Look at it. They're all getting up and clapping for her. They're so happy. They're so happy with the corruption, man. Oh. Nah, she got you. She got you. She lied. The Le Monde didn't make a mistake. It was just a mistake about the quantity. So it's 40,000 euros worth of shares that she did not declare instead of 40,000 shares. Fine, but her point is still the same. And here's another, just at the end when everything was finished, this is the Minister of Work, Ministre du Travail, Dussopt. He got so mad, like so mad. This is so fucking funny, man.
Mesdames et messieurs les députés insoumis, vous m'avez insulté 15 jours.
You've been insulting me for 15 days, and he's talking about insoumis, which is the French left.
Vous chantez, mais vous m'avez insulté.
You're on the way out, but you insulted me.
Personne n'a craqué.
No one cracked. No one has cracked. As he literally cracks in front of it. It's so fucking funny. He's lost it.
Personne n'a craqué, et nous sommes là devant vous pour la réforme.
Je vous remercie, monsieur.
This guy's so funny, man. I swear to God. Here's what Manuel Bompard wrote. He's also from the left, and he said that Minister Dussopt, basically exploded at the end of the parliamentary session. They're at the end of their wits. On March 7th, we're going to shut the whole country down and push them back. All right? Il a craqué. So here's the leader of the left. This is Mélenchon, and he says something really cool here. You know, he talks about these bullshit arguments that they've been repeating for like 40 years about pension reform. And it's so funny because he says this is not my first time fighting this. I've done this 7 times already. Yeah, and he says how Le Figaro, which is a French daily, it's right wing. They keep repeating the same arguments, and they never come up with something original or challenging. It's just the same old crap. You know, this was really.
J'ai ouvert aujourd'hui les pages saumon du Figaro. Vous savez pas ce que c'est.
Les pages saumon. He's basically saying that Le Figaro is good for wrapping fish. You know, like it's not a real newspaper.
Pas acheter Le Figaro, je vous recommande pas de.
He said, "Don't buy it." By the way, if you have to read a copy, steal it.
Mais volez-le. Et puis vous verrez les pages saumon ce que c'est. Il y a écrit dedans, les Français sont-ils paresseux?
Are the French lazy? That's what they write in Le Figaro.
Se pose la presse internationale. Forcément, c'est vous qui allez leur raconter ça.
And he says, yeah, of course, the international press will ask themselves that because that's what you keep telling them.
Alors les autres se disent, les Français sont paresseux. Non, les Français sont encore d'Europe, de la production.
People say French are lazy, but they're not. They have the highest productivity rates in Europe.
Productivité du travail. Et la preuve, c'est qu'il y a un argument qu'ils ont du mal à ressortir. C'est pas qu'ils ont du mal, comme ils n'ont aucune imagination. Moi, je vais vous dire, vous autres les jeunes, pour que vous sachiez, c'est la 7e réforme des...
This is the 7th pension reform that he's battling now, because he's been so long in politics. And yeah, he says here what I told you, that they keep repeating the same argument.
Que je me tape. Donc, apprenez tout par cœur une fois, parce que de toute façon, on ne change pas les arguments.
He said, just learn this once, and by heart, and that's it, because they're not going to change their arguments. So you just need to learn this once, what to answer.
C'est les mêmes 7 fois de suite. Alors c'est, il y a de moins en moins de monde qui cotise pour eux, de plus en plus de monde qu'il est à la retraite.
So yeah, the right wing says there are less and less people who are paying into the pension fund than people who actually want to take, who want a pension. That's their claim.
Point. Et on vit plus longtemps. Ça fait 10 fois qu'on t'explique qu'on vit plus longtemps parce qu'on travaille moins longtemps.
And the right wing say we also live longer, right? So you can work longer. And he's saying, no, the reason we human beings live longer is because we work fucking less. You don't have goddamn kids in the workhouse slaving away at 12 years old or some shit, right?
Tu l'as toujours pas compris. Et deuxièmement, quand tu nous dis, dans les années 70, il y en avait 3 qui travaillaient pour un retraité, ben oui, gros.
And he says, well, in the 70s, the right wing like to claim that in the 70s, you had 3 people who were working for basically working and paying in for one person who would take out a pension fund, so basically there was more money coming in to accommodate pensions.
Pour un retraité, ben oui, gros ballot. Mais aujourd'hui, un seul produit autant que 3 avant.
And now he says, yeah, but now one worker in France has 3 times the productivity than they used to in the 70s, right? Which is true. This is a metric you can observe all across the world. Workers today produce way more than, their parents' generation, right? That's a fact. It's a fact. It's an economic fact.
Gros ballot. Mais aujourd'hui, un seul produit autant que 3 avant. Autrement dit, le compte est exactement le même. Et donc, vous êtes juste des menteurs. Vous bourrez le crâne des gens. Vous faites même pas l'effort de trouver de nouveaux arguments pour qu'au moins je m'intéresse à quelque chose quand je débat avec vous. J'ai ouvert.
It's a very good point. And he says you're too lazy to even find a new argument for me to enter to have fun with when I debate you. And so, it's a very good point, because that's their argument. Is that there's not enough money coming in. No, there is enough money, and workers are producing 3 times more wealth. But instead of allocating that money to the pension, it's going to the corporations and the shareholders. You understand? So this is something you can see in the United States. You look at productivity of workers from the 60s until now, or the 80s until now. It goes up and up and up and up. But the wages haven't gone up, right? The wages haven't gone up in accordance, in proportion with the rate of productivity going up. So basically, workers are producing more wealth for the company, but not reaping the same benefits in relation to the amount of wealth that they produce. So it's unfair. You're doing more work, but getting less money. And that's the same in France, right? It's the same thing. So don't say there's no wealth and there's no money for the pension. There is. There's a lot, because workers are working 3 times harder than they did back then. And here's again Bompard. Look what he says here on the news about the March 7th general strike.
Les enquêtes d'opinion démontrent que l'opposition à la réforme est toujours aussi importante.
So he says that opinion polls show that most people are opposed to the pension reforms that Macron is trying to enact.
Qu'une majorité des Français sont favorables et soutiennent cette initiative.
Most French are in favor of
initiative des organisations syndicales.
They support the unions and what they're doing to oppose the reform.
De bloquer le pays le 7 mars. Je la soutiens également, bien évidemment.
And they're in favor of the protest, the general strike on March 7th, as is he.
Donc je pense que tout le monde est en train de se préparer vers
everyone's
cette date
getting
de
ready
rapport
for
de
the
force
state
très importante pour faire en sorte d'obtenir le retrait
in
de
a
cette
very
réforme.
strong show of force. So, this is important, because you're not going to see Bernie Sanders or someone from Labour Party or AOC or Ilhan Omar get on TV and say we have to shut shit down. We're shutting the country down. All the workers go on strike. Make your voices heard. They never do this for anything, whether it's healthcare, anti-war, nothing. Fuck all, just blah, blah, just tweet some bullshit, and that's it. And that's very disappointing. And you can see how it's done in France. It's done the proper way. Like I said, I saw that in school. I see that it's something that is ingrained in the mentality. It's something that people need to learn in England and the United States. You are doing everything wrong. Organizers and activists, please take note. This is how you do it. This is the proper way. It works. And you need to have stronger unions. You need to have unions that work together. Remember, the general strike on March 7th only works when all the unions actually work together. Can you imagine having a general strike in the UK and the US? I don't even remember the last time they even had one. It's unheard of. It's not, the best that we had were the teacher strikes, a couple years back, which is great, but it's not enough. Teachers are just one part of the equation. You need everybody else to join in. And yeah, in the UK, you've got rail workers who strike all the time. I know, but that's not enough. You need more for a general strike. It's what's called general strike. They know how to get organized, and they're an example that everyone should follow, because they get results. And the politicians these are people who are actually representatives. They represent the constituents. They don't go in and start representing, fucking corporations and sounding like the people on the other side of the aisle. No. They're consistent. And I'm not saying they're perfect, but they are a hell of a lot better than anything in the UK and the US. It's not even comparable. Forget about it. It's not even close. It is not comparable. Let me show you this seriously, I want to laugh at this again. Like how she's like, hey, Le Monde, they corrected it. Okay, that's not true that I omitted how many shares I own. No, it's you did. They just you lied. You lied about owning 40,000 euros worth of shares in Total. That was the correction. So it's 40,000 euros and not 40,000 shares. What's the difference? The point is the same. You're corrupt. You have a conflict of interest. You don't want to give people a good pension by taxing the rich because you are the rich and you are literally invested in a company that's making record profits. I mean, disgusting corruption. And then she's like, oh, she acts like she owned her or something, you know, and everybody's getting, what? Just so pathetic, really pathetic. She lied. So she lied about this when she didn't declare it, and then she lied again inside of the National Assembly when she said that this is not true and there was a correction. No, you still lied. Here's after the debates.
Dans cette bataille, la NUPES et les Insoumis ont fait œuvre utile. Nous avons fait œuvre utile lorsque nous avons démasqué les mensonges de ce gouvernement, et si vous avez vu la...
So NUPES et Insoumise, France Insoumise is Mélenchon's party, and NUPES is the coalition of the left. It stands for Nouvelle Union Populaire Écologique et Sociale. So it's the new populist and socialist and climate-friendly union, I guess. You know, that's basically what they mean. And so they're saying that they have demasked the government. They have lifted the veil off of the government today and caught them lying because they couldn't answer their questions during the debates.
Dernière séquence où ils attendaient tapis dans leur banc que sonne l'heure de minuit pour pouvoir s'en sortir de toutes les questions que les parlementaires ont posées maintes fois.
So they basically talking about how the government, they just try to get out, wiggle their way out of any questions that they were being asked, any scrutiny, and just waiting for the second they could get out of the room.
Nous savons d'ores et déjà qu'ils mentent sur la question des femmes, qui seront bien les grandes perdantes de cette réforme.
So they say that the government is lying about women, who are the biggest losers from this pension reform, who have the most to lose if this pension reform goes through.
Qui vont devoir subir le plus gravement le temps d'allongement de départ à la retraite, avec...
Who have to suffer the longest extension of time until they can actually get a pension or retire.
Le plus souvent des carrières hachées, et donc qui seront bien les grandes perdantes de cette réforme. Nous savons qu'ils ont menti sur les 1 200 euros, avec un chiffre qui a été
they lied about the 1,200 euros.
De départ à la retraite, avec le plus souvent des carrières hachées, et donc qui seront bien les grandes perdantes de cette réforme. Nous savons qu'ils ont menti sur les 1 200 euros, avec un chiffre qui a été, à force de les harceler sur cette question, sorti du chapeau de 40 000 personnes qui bénéficieraient de 1 200 euros bruts, dont on ne sait pas d'où il sort.
Yeah, and basically they were just lying about this, that there's going to be 40,000 people who are going to get 1,200 euros a month, and it's just something they completely made up.
Dont ils sont incapables de nous dire d'où vient ce chiffre.
And they're incapable of telling us where this number, where this figure comes from.
Qu'ils mentent sur les carrières longues, puisque vous l'avez vu, même après.
They're also lying about extended careers.
L'épisode de ce soir où ils annoncent reprendre l'amendement de M. Pradier, ils sont incapables de nous dire exactement combien d'années de cotisation il faudra, et c'est en quelque sorte...
Yeah, and they refuse to tell them how many years you have to pay into it. It was like, is it 43? Is it 44? They just won't give a straight answer. I've never seen something so stupid in my life. Really, like they want to pass a law without explaining anything about it. Like,
la roue de la fortune avec on perd les années paires et on perd...
They're playing Wheel of Fortune, you know, like just spin it and see what it lands on.
Les années impaires, 44 ans, 43 ans, personne n'a exactement saisi ce que proposait le gouvernement.
No one understood what the government's proposing.
Nous savons qu'ils mentent sur la question du chômage que va fabriquer cette...
We know that they're lying about the issue of unemployment that this pension reform will cause.
Réforme. De la pauvreté, du sas à pauvreté que ça veut dire pour beaucoup de gens, je pense notamment au RSA, mais aussi de machines à fabriquer de la maladie ou de l'invalidité. Et là...
Also about, just sick days, handicap, all of these issues in regards to the reform.
Lorsque l'on nous dit que ça ne sera pas 90 000 chômeurs, comme c'est écrit dans une étude de la DARES.
So there's a study saying there's going to be 80,000 people who are unemployed.
Peut-être est-ce alors le chiffre, mais le ministre ne veut pas nous le confirmer.
But the minister wouldn't tell them whether that's the right number or not. They just, wouldn't address
Le
it.
chiffre de l'OFCE qui dit lui-même qu'il y aura 277 000 chômeurs en plus avec cette réforme. Et enfin, on ne nous a jamais
And there's another minister who said there's actually going to be 200. What did she say?
cette réforme. Lui-même qu'il y aura 277 000 chômeurs
So 278,000 extra unemployed.
en plus avec cette réforme. Et enfin, on ne nous a jamais confirmé, là aussi un chiffre de l'OFCE, qui montre qu'avec cette réforme, il y aura d'ici à 10 ans une baisse des salaires de 3%.
So with this pension reform, from now until within the next 10 years, salaries are going to go down by 3%.
C'est-à-dire une attaque directe à celles et ceux qui travaillent aujourd'hui.
So, which is a direct affront, an attack on people who are working and doing their jobs.
Dans notre pays. Oui, nous avons fait œuvre utile et nous avons même pris au sérieux le déficit, soi-disant déficit qui existait dans le système de retraite pour proposer des centaines de manières de financer le système.
So they said that we even tried to give the government the benefit of the doubt and accept that, okay, fine, there's a deficit, right, in the budget, in the pension fund. And so we came up with hundreds of ways to fix that deficit, of ways to get money back into the pension fund.
De retraite actuelle, mais même pour aller jusqu'à la retraite à 60 ans.
Again, you get the point. The government, they just want to get this through with as quickly as possible, and they're fighting tooth and nail to avoid answering any questions, to actually agree on anything with the opposition, with the left. It's really childish. I like, they can't even answer how many years you have to pay into it. Like, at least be straightforward. But again, we can't expect much of politicians, can we? In any case, I respect, the French left are really good, and by no means perfect, but they're leagues better than anything in the UK and the US. Please learn from them, learn something from them. And it's so refreshing. It's so refreshing and invigorating to see people who give a fuck in the government, who are standing in the chamber and actually representing constituents, and not just like blah blah and hot air. Like they have teeth on this movement. Right, this movement has teeth. It has something to threaten the government with. It has numbers. It's willing to put things into motion and get people onto the streets and have a general strike. That is what you need. You need leverage. You can't fucking negotiate if you don't have leverage. And they have leverage and they're willing to use it. Well done. Well done. This is the bare minimum. This is the bare minimum. Anyone, all these so-called boutique left in the US and the UK, they never ever talk about any of this stuff, right? They never do any of this stuff. They never do any of this stuff. And that's disgusting and incorrigible. Take notes, learn, watch and learn how it's done.